suffocation. Another promise fading fast. Your eyes tell stories of darkness, secrets that my shadows cast. Alice in my veins, a burning ache. Alice in my veins, a touch of dread. Alice in my blood, welcome to my flood. Sunrise paints the window pane. Overslept and lost again. My hands reach out to hold you. Clutching smoke, I go right through you. Alice in my veins, here we go again. Alice in my head, beginning at the end. Alice in my blood, welcome to my flood. Check. Check. Where did you go? The girl I thought I used to know. Just a ghost of a dream or memory. Doing to you what you do to me. Alice in my veins, a burning ache, a restless pain. Alice in my head, a touch of hope, a touch of dread. Alice in my blood, a cleansing flood. Alice in my veins, Alice in my veins. You find my veins. Alice in my veins. Goodbye. Alice in
Check one, check.
Just say, Alice in my veins. Good night.
All right.
You spend a day with-
Hold on. Now we got it. Hold on. Let's check. Let's see. The mic. I'm not going to even try. I'm going to make sure the mic is running before I show up. Is it good? Hey, look at that. And then I'll move the graphic, and then we'll be ready to roll. Hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Good to see you. Where's my little, where are you guys? That's the morning me. There's the promo me. There's the thing. What happened to the chat room window? That's weird. The mystery of the incredible disappearing chat. What in the world? I'm dead serious. Something's funky. Okay. Well, let's go back to this one moment. And then perhaps I can, let's see, turn on this chat and see if this works at all. Maybe. There you are. There's so many switches to throw. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. There's a lot to cover, not the least of which is sort of some breaking news. We shall see. Apparently, the Secret Service had to shoot somebody, or thought they had to shoot somebody, or may have shot somebody just a couple minutes ago in the White House is on lockdown right now. Secret Service has shot an armed person in D.C. This is the current story.
I'm your host, Anna Marsick. We are following some breaking news outside of the White House there in D.C. That's a live look at the scene right now. But for one moment here, I'm going to put up this X post on your screen there. That is coming from the U.S. Secret Service Office of Communications. U.S. Secret Service personnel are on scene of an officer-involved shooting at 15th Street and Independence Avenue in Washington, D.C. One individual was shot by law enforcement. Their condition is currently not known, so please avoid the area as emergency crews are responding. Once again, this breaking news coming in just as...
By the way, I look forward to the paranoid storylines that will sprout from this, which will probably be business as usual DC stuff.
Trump was there inside the White House speaking at that small business summit. Taking a look right now.
Literally at. That's a great, certainly not with. That would be a summit.
At the scene there, this is a live shot coming from Fox 5 DC there. The Associated Press did put out an article saying an individual was shot by law enforcement Monday near the Washington Monument. According to the Secret Service, the person's condition and the circumstances surrounding the shooting around 15th Street and Independence Avenue were not immediately known.
And again, not particularly close to the White House, but it was on. I wonder how they announced that to the room full of people that were at this. And again, we'll follow up if it's something worth following up. But there's going to be a lot of this kind of stuff in future, as it were. Okay, did that pop back up? It should. Stream chat start populating. There you are. Excellent. I got to set this on. Let's see. Go to here. We'll click this, edit widget, keep running, save. There we go. Now it should populate faster. Annoying. So the other thing, of course, and it is way too long to cover the entirety of it. Holy smokes. The interview with the New York Times of Tucker Carlson is like 2 hours long. Like it's next level dumb. But before we get started, can we do one thing real quick? Can we do another episode of the thumbnail Olympics? Let's see. I'll grab this one. And let's see. Yeah, this one's pretty rotten too. It can't all go to Benny Johnson. We got to spread the love around a little bit. Let's see. Yeah. Let's get it. Yeah. There's so many good ones. All right. And this is a running problem that they have on a lot of these. All right. Let's go now, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the thumbnail Olympics. I don't even need to know. I mean, I think I kind of do know, but I don't even need to know what this one's about. It's just I will enjoy the fact that the person who's mainly in the thumbnail is acting like they have a curious bone in their body. Jim Breuer has one. This is the title of the video is "They Left Out the Most Important Word on Purpose." I'm not buying it. Okay. Thanks, Columbo. Yeah. And then let's go to the next one. Trump just pulled the biggest power move in history. Iran left begging. This is a Benny Johnson AI special where apparently he's casting a spell over the tankers and stuff. By the way, which is failing as we speak. You know, with the belief system right now is that if we haven't already started bombing, Iran has already started firing missiles into the Strait. And we will follow suit very shortly. So we'll see if there's some magic to that. Also, there's another Benny Johnson. He is wrong. Now, I don't know how even yes, he's wrong. And it's not because he's in a marriage with Jimmy Kimmel. This is so odd. Yes, you're not going to get a notification from YouTube on my show. You just aren't. It's the deep state's trying to shut me down. So make sure you're subscribed if you aren't. If you think you are, whatever, I should show up in there. But this is, yeah. Apparently they're groping each other and Benny's not having it. And then, let's see. This was, Yeah, this is the other one. This is the winner, I think, hands down. The Daily Wire fired a bunch of employees, almost their entire staff in Nashville at their production facilities there, which again, I don't know why an independent internet network needs cross-country offices at all. At a certain point, once you open up a subsidiary office in another media environment, I don't think you're independent anymore. I just don't buy it. If your independent media organization has an LA, St. Louis, Nashville, Miami, Atlanta, and New York office, I think your indie card gets pulled, if that makes sense. But I am enjoying the AI Ben Shapiro on a Shetland pony while Candace looks like she said the last word on a sitcom in the late 80s. And then the credits roll. Daily Wire collapses. Ben Shapiro wants revenge. Well, he can want all he wants, but he ain't gonna get it. Now, the other thing is, let's jump. Whoops, that one's constantly running. I had to turn that one off because it has yeah. This one doesn't have any words on it, but I like it. I think it's a good runner-up. We do not approve. Your father and I are very disappointed in you. This is Trump fondling a pile of money, gripping it with his dented hand, which, by the way, in that small business thing, when he stands back, the back of his hand is gnarly swollen. It's covered in makeup. But it also, I couldn't tell from the quality of the video, it may be that he's got a big puffy bandage on, but it looks gross. Tucker will never not look confused. That's just not happening. Okay, now, this is the Forum Club thing where he absolutely, this is what we would call like the sundowning Trump. This is him at his most sundowny. Oops, it opened it twice. Okay. And then, okay, so this is the Small Business Summit. None of this matters. Let me play this a bit, and then we'll skip ahead. He looks like hammered shit.
And we have...
Yeah, and at one point he calls up Kelly Loeffler, and she comes up and says a few words, and I had no idea she was 6'5", because if Trump is still 6'3", she's taller than him. Now, it could be heels, or she could be standing on something, but let's see if this one might not, yeah, it's the other angle. Okay, might have to scroll this up. This hand, you can see the line on the knuckles here. It's like puffy fat, and again, I can't tell, not like Sean Puffy, but like, let's see if I can, yeah, it's auto. Let's turn it up to 1080. See if that shows it at all. But it's like the fat of it, the back of his hand, or the swelling on the back of his hand is, as he stands, kind of the weight of it is pulling on the skin forward so that it creates more of a shadow around the knuckles. It's gnarly. It's really gross. That said, most of what he talked about was like his I deal with contractors, and I know everything, and I know business really well, and yada yada yada. And then he goes off on the Queen and the King love the White House like they've never seen anything like it, and how Iran has nothing, even though whatever. And then Biden sucked for small business and we're the greatest, and yada yada yada. And then he goes into the process of sealing the pool with chemical sealant, which let's see if we get like where he actually says that part. Yeah, so he does a lot of these like young jokes.
It's true. I feel the same as I felt 50 years ago. I don't know. There'll be a period of time when I don't tell you that. There'll be, because I'm honest, I'll say, it's not looking good. I have to be careful. If I said, as an example, I'm not feeling well, they put on, Donald Trump is not feeling well, because they'll just, they won't know that I'm using that as just a reference point, and they'll say, listen to this. And I'll say, I'm not feeling well. Well, someday I might say that to you, and you'll be the first to know. Actually, I won't have to
How about you just don't sound well? How about that? You just sound fucking insane.
say it, because you'll be able to see it, just like you did in the last
We can see it. No, we can see it.
administration. You know, one of the things I said is that we should have, in my opinion, any
Okay, so here he goes, the cognitive thing. Now, he brought up the cognitive test at the Palm Beach thing as well. And when he brought it up, on that one, he mentions the animals at the top of it, which prove it is not an IQ test. It's if you've just had a stroke test. And then he says, you know, there's 10 questions later, and the last one gets really hard. When he says it's like 10, because if you look at that page, it's like, I think there are 30 answers you give, but ultimately it's like 10 rows of stuff. So he references that specifically. So if there was any question that he was not talking about that standard cognitive exam that you get when you've been hit in the forehead with a 2x4, they're laughing, by the way, because they think he's joking. He admits that's the test.
anybody running for president or vice president should take a cognitive test. And
Well, no, you should be able to see it in their interactions with other people. Right?
no president has ever taken one except me. I've taken
Well, it's never been called for before.
3 of them, and I've aced each one. One in the first administration.
You don't ace being cognition, being awake. That's, you know, that's like they poked my feet with pins and I still have feeling in my feet.
2 over here. And whenever
And then calling yourself an Olympic gold medalist for running.
they get a little sassy, like, does he still have it? Does he still have what it takes? I say,
Oh, I thought you meant just have syphilis.
hey, all right, I'll take another one. And they are hard. There are many people in this room I know that are smart. They're not going to ace them. There are many people standing back there. The fake news made it there. I'd like to have them. You know, the first question is very easy, and they always show the first question is, you have a lion, a bear, an alligator, and what's another good? A squirrel.
It is. That's a good one. What's another good animal? First of all, there's only 3. In the standard test, there's only 3. He must be taking the super test so that you can describe all 4 of them.
Okay? Which is the squirrel? So they show that question.
Yeah, there is no IQ test in the world that starts with, can you spot the squirrel? Are you sure they didn't hand you a copy of Highlights for Kids?
And then the first 4 or 5 questions they get a little more difficult. By the time you get to the middle, they're tough. By the time you get to the end, I don't want to be insulting, but there won't be. I'm not going to do what Gavin Newsom said. You saw him? He said, everybody in here is stupid, and he's stupid. I think it was the worst political interview I've ever seen. He said, he's stupid, he's dumb, he gets bad marks on everything, he can't read his speech. And
that's when he was discussing the fact that he has dyslexia, and a lot of Americans have dyslexia. And Donald Trump is saying that people who have dyslexia are stupid. Just for the record, I'm just saying, yeah.
Nobody wants to report that. It was the worst. But I won't say that because I think everyone in this room is brilliant. But nobody's going to get all 30 questions correct.
Yeah, they are.
Nobody.
Yeah, they are.
Because when you get to those last questions, they're pretty hard. You got to be pretty sharp. But every time, so I've taken 3. No.
Also, the portion that he thinks is math is literally countdown from 100, subtracting 7.
No president, think of this, has ever taken 1. How do you think Biden would have done? I don't think, he might not have gotten that first question right. Anyway, and Obama would have done poorly. They would have done very poorly, but I think you should have it. As soon as they said that, they say, it's unconstitutional. And I said, why? They say it's unconstitutional to give a cognitive test like that. But Rick, I do it anytime they start getting a little sassy. And you know, it quiets them down for almost a year when they hear the result. One doctor said, it's the first time I've ever seen anyone get all questions right. That's a doctor who does this stuff for a living.
Ronnie Jackson.
and I did it 3 times. So I don't know. I think I'm done with those days. I'm tired of taking that test. You know, you sit before a group
Yeah, it's exhausting.
of doctors.
You can't say squirrel every time. Also, for the record, they give him the same one every time. The one he took, the third one he took, and the first one he took, the 5 words are person, woman, man, camera, TV.
And they ask you questions. I said to Ronnie Jackson, he was
Yeah, he's letting it slip.
original, right? First time. I said, so what do you think, Ronnie? They call me a genius who's going to destroy the country. Then they said, he's a genius who's taken over the entire world. Then they said, he's a total moron. This guy is so stupid. And then, so whenever I hear that one, I say, let's take the cognitive test.
Oh, shit. First of all, was the how many times have people called you a genius part of the cognitive test? Because no, you call yourself that. I think that's stuff that like Stephen Miller has said to you. And I think really when he's like, he's a moron is something he hears someone say in the hallway and he knows it's about him.
But I really think it would be a great thing if you could do that. They say it's not constitutional, but I think it would be good. And I can tell you,
Says the guy who won't even give his tax returns.
a lot of the people that run these small businesses, you could take the cognitive test and you could do a lot
The cognitive?
better than some of the people that we talk about. But I really believe it. I think it's so important for our country. We have to make sure we have the right people leading this country. Like, we have a war right now.
No, we don't. You terminated it, and it was never a war in the first place.
And went to like, what, 6 weeks? They said, what's taking so long? We were in Vietnam 19 years. We were in Iraq for many years, 10 years, 12 years. We were in all these different wars. Korea, 7 years. I won't even mention World War II. That's a big baby. But you had the wrong person up here, you'll be in World War III. As sure as you're sitting there, you have the wrong person up there. It's nasty and tricky. It's tricky out there.
Is it? It's tricky to rock a rhyme that's right on time. It's tricky.
We have to have the right people, and they have to be sharp and they have to be smart. Because
Well,
one
then I guess we're fucked.
thing about your businesses, small businesses are great, but if you don't have the platform, meaning the country, meaning the right principles, the right everything, our country's booming now, despite the fact that we're in I call it a mini war, because that's all they are. They don't have a Navy anymore. Think of it. They had 159 ships. How many do they have left, Kelly? Out of 159, take a guess. She's very smart. 0. 159 ships. In the
By the way, it was 158 last week.
first 2 weeks, 159 ships. I actually got very upset. I said, how quality were the ships? They were very good. I said, why didn't you just take the ship? Why do you have to send it?
Because they would have to murder everyone on board and, I guess, throw them overboard and seize the vessel like it's the fucking 1400s.
To the bottom of the sea. We could have had, and let's say out of the 159, we could have taken 59. We would have had 59, but they'd rather blow them up than save them. I would have preferred saving them, but these are minor details. But one of the small business owners
Woof.
who can tell us firsthand how our tax cuts are boosting revenue is someone you may have heard, and I made mention of the fact he has been with me. I don't know, maybe he doesn't like me, or maybe he loves me. I think I'd rather be liked than loved by him, although he is a very handsome man, I would say.
Jesus.
But he's somebody that we all know, and I think he's a fantastic guy, and he's been to so many rallies, so many speeches, and I love being able to introduce him because he's a champion, he's a winner. You know, to go on television and to make it, he made it big, but to go on television, I don't know if you know this, Rick, 5% of the shows make it. 2% of the shows make it pretty good. 1% of the shows make it. So it's very risky to do a television.
Sorry, how does that work again? How many of the shows make it?
I don't know if you know this, Rick. 5% of the shows make it. 2% of the shows make it pretty good. 1% of the shows make it. So it's
All right. Yeah. 5% of the shows make it. 2% of the shows make it pretty good. 1% of the shows make it. Sorry, what was that bit about the cognitive exam again? Was that, what line was that? Because shit.
So it's very risky to do a television show and I did The Apprentice, and that was one of the great hits of a long time. But you did your show, and I've just always admired. I admire people that will go against the odds. And when you do a television show, you're going, because
then everybody who tries to put on a television show is going against the odds.
very few of them make it, and you made it big. So I'd like to have Rick Harrison come up. It's a gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, and you know his show very well. And say a few words, Rick. Come on up. You're looking good. Thank you, Rick.
Okay, by the way, he gives an award away later to this guy who, this one's amazing. The hair on this dude is next level. Where is he? He yammers a little bit about the pool, and he talks about the pool forever. This is where I think...
Not a good looking color. So even if you did it, it's not good. So he said, we'll do a beautiful job. I think that I'd like to recommend a color that I've used before. It's beautiful. What's it called? It's called American Flag Blue. I said, that's the color I want. Because how can you have it better, right?
I don't even have to see it. I'm just going to assume. Anyway.
I said, how can you have a better color than American flag? We had a gray, disgusting, dirty. It showed all the dirt. It showed all the everything.
It showed all the everything. Okay. Then he brings up the guy who won the Small Business Company of the Year award for the SBA or something like that. Guess what the guy makes? He's a 3D printing and fabricating guy in Ohio, I believe. First of all, I'm fairly certain he 3D printed his hair. But let's listen to the guy's remarks. You know, normally I don't play the civilians when they bring them up, but this one was like, this gets special.
It'll be very nice.
You have to pay special attention to what he says as far as like what he makes as a product and why he may have gotten this award.
He transformed Humtown into a pioneer in 3D printing, and he's leading everybody. Then today,
nope, not guns. Dumber.
They're North America.
Dildos? No, nothing so useful. Nope.
America's leading producer of 3D printed sand cores and molds, which is a big business. And Mark, we're here to honor you today, and if you could come up, we're going to give you a little something. Come on up. Hey, Mark. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's beautiful. I want to get one of them for myself.
I want to get one of them for myself. He's going to award himself Small Businessman of the Year.
I'll honor myself.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's very nice.
And the guy's, the guy looks like he's the runner-up in a Lee Greenwood from 1987 lookalike contest.
Would you like to say a few words, Mark? Go ahead, I'll hold it for you.
Mr. President and Administrator Loeffler, I would like to thank
You'll notice the tie.
you for the opportunity and the privilege to represent.
Somebody said his hair is a dye job. No, it's a helmet. You can see when he turns by, he's got the difference between toupee and hair. When you see that like flick up in the back that they never quite get, it's that thing is stapled on.
The 36 million small business people to be an ambassador for the largest part of our economy.
Here it comes.
And I would like to thank you from the Humtown Products Industrial Athletes team that I have the privilege of serving every day as their head coach. But even more, I would like to thank you, Mr. President, for restarting and rebooting our economy.
This guy, by the way, is near tears.
And manufacturing used to be 38% of our economy, and it's down to 9%.
Also, technically not down to 9%. The rest of the economy grew. So you don't quite get to just say it used to be a bigger portion, but that doesn't mean there's less of it. It's just the rest of you think there was a big FinSec and computer but segment in the population in whatever 1912.
And I know that you love America, and I know that you want to restart that. In the last 3 months, the PMI index has gone up 3 months in a row because of that restart. We have 10% increase in hiring, and we'll be able to buy more of those $1 million printers that we're able to print.
What does he print? We're going to buy more of those $1 million printers so that we can print. These are metal printers, is what he's talking about.
The fight, fight, fight Trump statue that was in Butler.
Yep. Yeah. Trump and Loeffler awarded it to the guy who makes the fight, fight, fight statues, who makes and sells Trump fight, fight, fight statues. Just fucking pathetic. That is the guy. Right. Chat room. It's absurd. So on the goddamn nose. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm sure that guy was shocked that he was the winner this year as well. And a 10% improvement in, like, we're employing 10% more people in a 10-person shop. Right. Yeah. So, all right. Now, at the same thing, let's go back to this business and try to grab this, and we'll scroll forward, and then I'll see if I can find this in here. Okay. All right. So this is Trump telling a story like he's a fucking action hero at this thing at the Forum Club, where you could really tell the sun is going down. Honestly. This is, here we go.
Annapolis, these guys are like central casting. You could put them in. I'd say something about Tom Cruise. I was going to say better looking than Tom Cruise and taller, but I'm not going to do that because he's a friend of mine. I can't do that. But they're like central cast.
Which he just did, by the way.
You could move him.
And no, he isn't, I guess, unless you're a Scientologist and we didn't know until now, which I doubt.
To Hollywood right now.
Yeah, exactly, Alyosha. Meanwhile, in Iran.
Be movie stars. But you saw him saying, we have guns trained on your ship. Turn your ship around. Turn, and this is loudspeakers that go over the ocean, and they hear them from 2 miles away.
It's also a radio.
Your ship around. Turn your ship around, and all of a sudden.
Sure it wasn't turn the beat around?
Yes, we are going back to Iran. We are going back. They turned it around. It takes 10 miles to turn the sucker. It's not like turning around a bicycle. It's like...
by the way, Trump can't ride a bicycle, just for the record.
It's big stuff. And then we had the other one you saw from 4 days ago where they were going to ram we call it an iron wall. It's essentially an iron wall. We have such great military and great...
The iron wall is the blockade, I'm guessing, the mockade.
Navy. And they were going straight through. And they said, turn your ship around. And there was no response. Turn your ship around. Evacuate your engine room immediately. And you see all these guys running out of there. Now, they're...
No, you didn't see them running out of there. Unless you can see through the hull, I guess.
5 miles.
Do we have X-ray vision now? It's one of the great things when he rebuilt our military from scratch.
Away, and one shot into the engine room, blew up the engine room. The ship stopped.
Yeah, it's a civilian watercraft. It's not armored in any way.
They used tugboats, and then we landed on top of it. On top of everything else, we then land on top of it, and we took over the ship. We took over the cargo, took over the oil. It's a very profitable business. Who would have thought we were doing that? We're like pirates.
We're a lot like pirates, meaning that we're doing a lot of illegal shit.
We're sort of like pirates. But we're not playing games because, For 47 years, Iran has been pushing everybody around. They're the bully of the Middle East. They've been scaring
And that's our job.
everybody, Israel and Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, all of them. They're all, it was the bully of the Middle East. I understand it. Bush made a mistake. He took out Iraq. You know, Iraq,
Oh, dear.
and by the way, I congratulate the new president of Iraq. I endorsed him. I'm now in the business of endorsing political leaders from foreign countries, countries that nobody's ever seen before.
Yes, nobody's ever seen Iraq before, certainly not our soldiers.
And we have a pretty infallible record. We've won a lot of them, but I endorsed the man because we didn't like the man that was
Except Orban, I guess, would be the giant loss. I guess you can make up for it, you know, lose Hungary, gain Iraq.
the president of Iraq, and we endorsed somebody that not a lot of people have heard of, and he won in a landslide. So I just spoke to him yesterday. But
Did the people in the country hear of him?
the relationships we have relationships that are very, very strong, very powerful relationships, and I think the Middle East is going to be taken care of. We had a lot of conversations with
I think the Middle East is going to be taken care of. Well, I, for one, feel better.
the lead.
Just, how do you mean taken care of? Like mafia talk, like 86, that you apparently think everything is mafia talk? Taken care of. We need to take care of Charlie. I don't think that means set him up in a nice apartment and buy him roses.
Leaders, I call them the new leaders. I call them the new regime. You know, they kept saying the radical
Yeah, he's got a nickname for everything. He's got a nickname for the last nickname.
left. Where is regime change? Well, if this isn't regime change, there's no such thing.
Okay, asshole. Nobody was saying like they were demanding regime change. That's just odd. Okay, listen to that one more time. So,
Left. Where is regime? I just spoke to him yesterday, but the relationships we have relationships that are very, very strong, very powerful relationships, and I think the Middle East is going to be taken care of. We had a lot of conversations with the leaders. I call them the new leaders. I call them the new regime. You know, they kept saying the radical left. Where is regime change? Well, if this isn't regime change, there's no such thing.
okay, again, changing the leadership of a regime is not changing the regime itself. If it's still the same functioning government or the same ideology, it's the same regime. It's just a different dude. So, no, not at all. There is not technically regime change. It's still the Islamic Republic of Iran right now.
Because Khomeini in the first tier was gone. The second tier is gone. Half of the third tier is gone, which is a problem. That's a problem because we
Because you don't know who you're talking to, but you're still talking to them on the phone. Are they in the room with us now?
are trying to figure out the right one to talk to. We talk to one, and then another one calls up. Let's make a deal. But I think we're in a very, I know we're in a very strong position.
How long before we find out this asshole is being pranked by some like morning zoo radio show?
There's the expression that we've all heard, or many of us have heard, if you like
Oh yes, let's hear what the expression we've all heard
the
is.
fights, if this were a fight, they'd stop it.
You mean like a prize? He means like a prize fight, like a boxing match. It is a fight. It's the worst kind of fight. It's a war.
But again, their military they have some missiles left. They have some missile making capacity left. We've knocked about 85% of their manufacturing capacity for new missiles out. We've knocked about 82%, but that means they have missiles left. We knocked
Right, and apparently 15% of what they had is enough to wipe out most of the capitals in the Middle East
out
and a bunch of ships.
most of their drone making factories, but they have some drone capacity left. And drones are pretty effective. But we've also developed, in the meantime, if you remember, the German U-boats were a horror. Nobody could
Horror. Horror. I swallowed a bug.
stop them. And then all of a sudden they come up with sonar, and it went from nobody could stop them that it was the worst place in the world to be is in a U-boat. The drone, anti-drone capacity that we have now is fantastic. They have new weapons, lasers. You got to see the lasers. They go into a laser. They just burn they just boom.
They just boom.
And we have that, and we have very special machine guns with large-scale bullets operated
Large scale bullets. Yeah, they're flat.
by a computer. And as they come in, it just knocks them out like it's amazing.
It just knocks them out like it's amazing. Yep. He's a master of simile.
But with all of that being said, there's still danger. There's always danger with war. With war, you never know what happens. Look at
I thought this was a mini war.
Russia. It was supposed to be a one-day war, and it's 4 years, right? And you see that, and it's really a terrible war. And it's a lot of people died. Last month, they had 25,000 soldiers, mostly soldiers, killed. It's like a bloodbath over there, and I think we'll get that. We've settled 8 wars.
It was 10 the last time he spoke.
And that should be the 9th. I think we're going to get it done, but it's...
Yes, you also thought you'd be able to handle that in one phone call.
It's a rough one. It's a rough one.
Are they applauding him just getting the sentences out?
But we're joined tonight by a lot of my friends and very distinguished people that
explains the applause in inappropriate and weird moments.
Are great people. The Palm Beach mayor, Danielle Moore. Where's Danielle? Where are you, Danielle? Hi, Danielle. How are you? Great person. We're working on a couple of things that for good water. Let's say a nice water product, right? Like desalinization. I said,
I love how they actually wrote out desalination, and he just still throws the desalinization.
Danielle, why can't we be like a submarine? We have the best desalinization. We have the best submarines in the world. We can go for years underwater, all nuclear submarines, the nuclear ones. And one of the things we have is great water on the submarines, desalinization. So I'm saying,
or desalination.
How does that sound for Palm Beach? So we're looking at it. We're going to play with it and see, boy, would that be nice from the standpoint of
water.
Unbelievably clean, pure water. It would be great. So we're working.
What? No. Water from desalination plants is not the purest, cleanest water. Obviously, spring water that's been filtered, reverse osmosis, is the best way to go. But desalinized water has a certain flavor to it. You can't get it all out. It's good, but it's not the cleanest, purest water in the world. It's so fucking stupid.
Working with Danielle, and we're working with the council, and I think something's going to come up, whether it's filtering or desalinization. Desalinization's a little bit better and a little bit more expensive, like a lot. But
well, because you have to build an entire plant.
You know, anything used by the Navy is the most expensive. But think of it, they can go.
Yeah, tell that to Space Force.
Forever in a submarine. Nuclear submarine can.
Oh God.
Can guide for at just about top speed.
It can guide for top speed
for 35 years.
It can guide for 35 years at top speed
without refueling. Can you believe it? Going.
Well, yeah, it's nuclear fuel.
At a very fast. We have the greatest submarine.
They don't stay underwater for 35 years. You do know that, right?
Anywhere in the world, nobody close. We're 15 years ahead of any other net. We have the greatest military in the world. I rebuilt it.
Oh God. So, okay, same shit every time. So, rando sundown. That's what you got at this little forum club gathering. You guys get the picture. And then one last thing with him as he comes out and talks to the press about Iran giving a proposal.
Sorry to guys. So we have the President Trump right now who's leaving the White House. He's talking to reporters. Let's listen in.
Because it's never been sought before. There's been many times, and nobody's ever gotten it before. They consider it totally unconstitutional.
Which, by the way, he filed for specifically. Okay, this is 3 days ago. So I think we've seen a piece of this before.
But we're always in touch with Congress. But nobody's ever sought it before. Nobody's ever asked for it before.
Yes, they have, and they've gotten it. That we got it in Iraq. He's full of shit. This is just silly. Let me jump ahead because it's the same shit over and over again from the silly man. The one thing I do want to get to is, where's my pointer? You've done, you fool. You've broken my pointing stick. I've got nothing to point with now. All right, we're going to jump straight into, we already did the dead guy and the thing and the he's wrong, which is true. I want to see a piece of this. Bear with me. This is the New Darkness from Jim Breuer's Bruniverse. Huh? He's not buying it. They left out the most important word on purpose. There's one word missing that would have made him feel better about the whole thing, and they took it out.
I think it was Mark Twain said that you can either be uninformed by not listening to the news, or you can be misinformed by listening to listening to the news.
Right.
So this is something where you got a voice in some of these places. Let's call them like.
Or you could check multiple sources against each other and make sure you have a clear picture of what's going on as best you can. And I mean, that's a cute thing to say, but when Mark Twain was around, it wasn't like there was a huge system, like of journalistic integrity in the country.
Conspiracy theories. That you
also, there's a conspiracy to turn your lights off, I think.
You speak into.
Yeah.
Like what is one that you feel like today?
What's the big conspiracy theory that you think that today is something?
We as a nation or something, we're duped in it. And
we're duped into false idols.
Well, I mean, I think maybe the people who worship those idols as graven images of their gods would disagree. Also, I'm guessing he's going to go with celebrities that made it as opposed to him.
And the false idol is nation.
Wow. So fuck America. Okay. Flags, all that shit, just right out the window. What the fuck?
Governors.
Sorry. Nation governors are false idols. We apparently worship governors now.
Nation. Governors.
I think he means government. What the fuck is with the audio on this?
Nation.
I don't know why, but the audio on this is dropping.
Governors.
There we go.
Senators. Presidents. We feel.
Oh, do we? Oh, please tell us all how we feel.
They are our saviors.
What? Sorry, you really believe that?
And you can be the most trenched in man of Jesus.
The most trenched in man of Jesus. That's one of my favorite Zachariah Sitchin novels.
You can be the holiest of holy.
Nah, I don't think you can. I really don't. Because I'm if I know my hymns well, I think Jesus is that person, and
but you will still be
fall short of the kingdom of heaven
under the voodoo of people in the public eye, where there's
sorry. So Trump, what he's getting to, I think, is starstruck by Netanyahu.
Your politician, your favorite political party, your favorite pop star, whoever it is, you will blindly follow that.
What? The amount of projection is magnificent, but can you imagine being this dismissive of every other human on the planet? This is Glenn Beck level, like, intellectual self-aggrandizement. You can, everybody in society, you guys, you'll just blindly follow whatever pop star or your governor or your senator and do whatever they say, and you have no control over your thoughts, and you'll deify them. Not me, of course. I'm above all that. I don't have that problem anymore because Trump turned out to be exactly who they said he was, and so it's expecting this asshole to come clean about his support of the guy is, a fool's errand.
To the point where you're willing to sacrifice your morals. Yeah, we should kill.
Sorry, which pop stars are you listening to?
But it's a good thing to hurt these individuals and this nation and these people. They sell you.
Good God. Like, listen, Listen to this asshole like inflate his fucking self. See, they do this so that you'll do that because you don't know that they're doing this to you and you just blindly are sucked into their tractor beam. So they're like, if you're a big fan of, uh, Aerosmith and you're like, listen to them. And then one day they're like, I think we should kill everyone in Iraq. And you're like, yes, sir. Because you don't know that Aerosmith is all tied up in the thing with, Rick Astley and Flock of Seagulls and uh, the former governor of Atlanta and Rand Paul's hairdo. Like, you'll just follow those things because you, unlike me, are stupid. Fuck you.
Hate. They sell you judgment.
Again, he's talking about, I guess, Nugent now.
They sell you lust.
Well, guilty as charged. I don't know. I will admit when I've been called out.
It's fun to be Let's party like we're moving gay.
Not your fault. It's just that's my tractor beam. I just draw you right in.
They sell you
The question, I guess, would be, why are you buying it?
all the things.
All the things. What's the word I'm looking for? Because I'm basically talking until the idea comes out.
That you think you want to hear.
Oh, shit. That you think you want to hear. Would it be what they think you want to hear? No, of course not, because they've got a ray that sees into your brain.
And it's no matter how grounded you are, most people fall for it.
Most people, not us, not in this little dimly lit room with our leather seats in this podcast studio, obviously.
Nonstop and continue to do it. And it's
Well, nonstop does mean to continue to do it. I mean, that's all right.
And we fall for it over and over and over again.
No, we don't. No, we don't. You do.
And when they say, and I started
Get on with it. Fuck's sake.
saying, when they say one nation under God.
Is he, I guess he's going for stoner Alex Jones now? Is that what the idea is? I don't know that he uses substances anymore. I think his just face always looks high, lack of sleep or something like that. But that's where we're going. They trap you with that one nation under God because they don't say which God it is. They didn't say the God.
I can stop right there. Please define your God.
Oh, wow, man. So fucking deep, buddy. So, which God is it? Mammon, Baal, the Celtic god of polymaths, Lou, your own Ariana Grande. I mean, it could be anything.
That you're speaking of.
Yeah, because Satan worshipers view Satan as God, even though they don't, I guess. But they're God, so,
Because the last I checked, every TV show is
every
sexualized.
Every TV show is sexualized. Well, tell me about your viewing habits without telling me about your viewing habits.
Glamorized.
Well, I mean, I guess those things would go depending on, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. I mean, maybe you got an ugly fetish, but there's most of the time you're going to have both of those things, I guess. Also, how glamorous are most of the sitcom families, for example?
Vanity.
Again, projection.
Killing.
I mean, again, which shows are we talking about?
Ego.
Well, okay, that now he's talking about his own.
So money, power, positions.
Yeah, even again, like most of these stories on these, the argument from conservatives has always been that Hollywood is so fucking liberal, and all the shows are like anti-corporation, are community, and why don't we all share and all that kind of shit. Like this kid show mentality that shows up and like, hey, you got to be able to speak about your real emotions and talk to somebody. Like that's all the shit that's in these shows, especially nowadays. And again, I don't know where he's projecting this onto, like Wicked and shit like that, but whatever. It's just goofy.
Control. So what God exactly?
What God exactly are you talking about here? Well, maybe the God that created everything, including all that stuff, and gave you the free will to focus on it or not.
Are you, when you say, may God bless our country, may one nation under God and the dollar bills, what, because you haven't, it's part of the voodoo trick. You don't say in the loving name of Jesus. You don't.
Right, because there's a thing in the Constitution about establishment of religion where God is a generic enough term where people can, if they believe in religion, they can do that and they can project whatever. If they're Hindu or Jewish or Muslim or Christian or whatever, or Buddhist even, I guess technically, and not quite a god in Buddhism, but you get the point that you can focus on that, a universal intelligence that could be your placeholder for God, because it's literally illegal under the Constitution, because that was the purpose, because pilgrims initially left a country that was forcing them to worship in one particular way.
You don't say in the loving God. You just say,
sorry, one nation under the loving God on our money? That's the part you think is missing?
God, which is interesting because
it's so interesting.
As you and I both know, there's certain words that people just automatically visualize. That's the trick. If I say, I'm a God man.
We'll go, sorry, you think you're a deity?
You instantly think, oh, he must go to church. And
no, I most of the people I know who go to church don't go, I'm a God man. That sounds like something Kanye West would say, dipshit.
I didn't define what God.
Dun, dun. Sorry, I should probably have that on the ready at any given time. Good Lord, what a dipshit.
Oh, no, I believe in God. Which one are you talking about?
Damn.
Because
notice he doesn't point out the fact that there are a lot of people who say that they are followers of Jesus who don't behave like they've actually read any of Jesus's words.
The one you're talking about doesn't line up with what you claim we're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm. You claim we're supposed to be doing. That still seems like external projection. I think what you would check and see is if someone's deity that they allegedly align themselves with should line them up with their own behavior.
And that's
stupid. You're a stupid person. This is stupid. This is nonsense, gibberish.
That's a tough thing for a lot of people to swallow and understand.
Yeah, most people are stupid. Thank God we have Jim Breuer.
And I still get into this, and it's like, I don't care what political party you're part of or whatever.
Yeah, he does.
I'm now at the point where
you bought everything Trump sold you, hook, line, and sinker, and you regret it, and now you're backpedaling into religion, just like we've seen Glenn Beck do, just like we've seen Rusty Trombone do.
It's either
I thought this was in slow motion. Yeah, it does feel like that.
Evil thought, and we'll put evil into judgment, murder.
Yeah, I line both of those, especially when a judge has to judge a murderer, or a jury even. They're both guilty. You know what I mean? The murderer and the jury. I think they're equally culpable.
How it lust, whatever you want to put in there.
Yeah, some of the seedy stuff you saw.
The seedy stuff.
Even with the stuff with kids, the pedophilia, all those.
Yeah, I would put that at the top of the list as far as evil goes. And I will admit to be very judgmental of pedophiles. You know, to the point where obviously I believe everyone should have their day in court because that's the system we have. But if I personally caught someone in the act of doing this, I would crush their head with a cement block right there. That's me being judgmental in that moment. And that's something I would have to work out with my loving God, I guess.
That craziness.
It's just wacky.
Yeah.
Or
oh shit. Sorry, you're gonna make a case that it isn't?
you know,
What do you mean or? Pedophilia is evil, or he didn't have an or. He's making it up. He did not have one.
people are so like, if we were to just talk about war.
Yeah, let's just talk about war. Let's leave the whole pedophile thing out of this since he voted for one.
Yeah, we're in one right now. Or
We're not in one. A person in control is.
What's his name?
Not me.
Oh, by the way, he means Netanyahu.
I didn't. Nobody. When you
For the record, he voted for Trump, and Trump declared this war out of out of thin air. So yeah, he did vote for it.
you travel the world and you meet more and more people, whether they're dirt poor, whether they have absolutely nothing.
I think those are basically the same thing.
We all usually 100%, I say 99.9, we find a common ground of humanity with one another.
Do you? Yeah, it's super fucking kumbaya when this dude goes and helps dig wells in Africa,
You
which he has never done.
just want to, there's faith and your family, and then you want to provide for that. And oh, wow, you had a mom who had cancer. Oh, wow, you have a child that's Down syndrome. Oh, wow, your mom has dementia.
Sorry, these are the bonding points. Like that's the talking point amongst. All right,
Oh, blah, 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 blah. And
it's all blah 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 blah. I agree.
those communities have been broken up and they've been put into gangs. I'm in this gang. I'm in the, we believe in this and this and this. I'm in the.
So their beliefs don't matter. So the First Amendment, Second Amendment, all that kind of stuff, just chuck that out the fucking window because it's just paper between us and the Chinese or the Russians or the Iranians or that guy, right? There's no difference between nation states and what they believe, or cultures and what they believe. That's all just fabricated. When you boil it down to it, our families just want to get along and go along, except when they don't.
This gang and this gang. Every label is a gang.
Sorry, so there are men gangs and there are man gangs and woman gangs. When you go to the restroom, these are just gang hangouts.
I'm this. Why would you label yourself?
So we can move on from the obvious. What do you mean? Why would you label yourself? First of all, most people don't label themselves. Other people label them because it helps them go, he's one of those guys, like God man, right?
I don't believe in labeling.
Not anymore.
Because now you're closing your mind to a sector that you don't even know 100% about. You don't know anything. You just join it. Yeah, I want that. Yeah, I'm definitely like that team. No, you're your own individual strength.
We're all individuals. You're all different. I'm not. Shh.
Yeah. It's not any different than what you described from the hometown and you being on the show and coming back. Yeah.
Right. So if we're in a small town, imagine someone running to your house.
Okay, I'm imagining someone running to my house
and going, hey, there's this thing going on 5 neighborhoods from now, and we need your kids. They may get killed, but we really need them because this is it's right.
You mean like during the Revolutionary War?
Righteous. And can I meet the people we're fighting with? Can I sit down and just...
Yes, please go have a talk with them. They're in the process of killing people who look like you right now. As a matter of fact, that's what we're going to ask you to do. We need cannon fodder. So can you go and try to shake their hands, and we'll prove how evil they are, because they're going to blow you away the minute they're the guys lined up in the red coats on the field saying you can't live here anymore.
Just talk with them. Oh no, they're bad or evil. They're bad. They're really bad. And you're willing to just give your child?
No, people aren't. Also, like this kind of sight unseen aspect of maybe the Iraq War or Vietnam, that he's trying to like throw a bit in its mouth and make it some sort of deeper meaning. The country by and large has moved beyond this to the point where we have a hard time convincing people in a real situation that they should fight, or we should fight.
Or sacrifice your life? No offense, but the person telling you to do that is pure evil.
Sorry, so George Washington, the Eisenhower, the leaders during World War I, World War II, these are just evil people. Why didn't they just leave the Nazis alone and let them build their concentration camps? Do you even know that they had concentration camps? Did you go check before you sent your son to war? Like, oh, fuck me. Hold on. Headset piece fall out.
Because they don't understand the gift of life from God, of this angel. And something tells me sometimes, if you're willing to go in and take someone else's child to send them to possibly get murdered in whatever name you want to call it. No.
Yeah, the actual protection of freedom, I guess.
Oh, this has to be. Where'd you learn that? On the news? Who told you?
Yeah, fucking news. Like, no, actually, in the Bible, there's in the Old Testament, they did this a bunch.
That. No, I know a person that knows a person that lives over there, and this is a good thing that we're going to murder.
Yeah.
Is that right? Oh, interesting. Huh.
Also, you could tell me, good Lord, tell me you have never read the Old Testament without telling me you've never read the Old Testament.
Wow. So you're willing to just, God gave you this thing to read, and now you're just like, here you go. I hope your cause works out. We got a little trophy for them. Sorry it didn't turn out that way, but hey, we're going to build a little museum. Thank you. So kind of you to think of these angels, these gifts from heaven. And again, I always
Sorry, he acts like we're sending toddlers off to war.
ask, where are we?
Okay, at this point, where are we? We're at the end of this. This is such gibberish. It has become painful. Holy God. All right, let's like that actually was so lame. It was almost physically painful. My guess is so will this be. And I don't want us to be in a position where any of us have to actually side with either one of these dickheads, Glenn Beck or Ben Shapiro, or I guess Glenn Beck's new husband, Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. So I saw it yesterday, and Benny, you know I respect you. You know.
Yeah, you shouldn't go there right out of the gate because it lowers everyone else's opinion of you.
Yeah. So I saw it yesterday, and Benny, you know I respect you. You know, and I know you're not a bomb thrower, and we could have a real conversation. And I might be missing something that you are seeing. You know, I look at things. I've been in broadcast now for 49 years, so
fairly certain the debate, if I'm not mistaken, was about the idea that Glenn Beck has been a free speech absolutist about the Kimmel thing, that if the company wants to fire him because what he said is not in line with the values of the company, they have the right to do that, but the government can't insist, and you can't snatch somebody's license if they don't live up to that standard. That's what the Constitution protects. And Benny's like, nah, not necessarily.
So I know the FCC inside and out. I know all the rules, et cetera, and I can't find my way around it. But in some ways, man, would I love to. I'm so sick of all of this stuff. But I want to make sure we're not violating the principles that we all hold dear. So I said yesterday that if I worked at ABC, if I were running ABC, I'd fire Jimmy Kimmel in a heartbeat
Right, which is why you'd never get the job.
because of standards. It's
Oh, what's with Glenn Beck's forehead? Yeah, I've noticed this in certain video. There's like a distinct line. I think the top of his head is actually snapped on.
it's reprehensible what he has done. And I would send a message to the country, we're not for that. Okay. And if I,
By the way, this is a guy who supported Jan Sixers, who brought guns and knives to the Capitol and built a gallows, a physical gallows to hang Mike Pence. That's free speech. But Jimmy Kimmel's joke 2 days before this dipshittery at the White House Correspondents' Dinner is grounds for deletion from the planet.
if I would have said something like that about Barack Obama at Fox, I would have expected to be fired.
Right, but then Michelle is not a trophy wife with a much older husband. She's not a person in her mid-50s now whose husband is pushing 80, which is what the joke was actually about. It's a gold digger joke.
However, with that being said, I don't see the FCC move here. And if there is an FCC move, I'd prefer the president, although I do prefer that he's out in the open, unlike Joe Biden where they're hiding it. I prefer that it's not directed
Under Biden, they hid it so much it didn't happen.
by the president. I prefer that it is something that is just the FCC takes care of because it's a clear violation. But I can't find the violation. You may be able to. So help me out, Benny.
Sure. So let's attack this from 3 different perspectives, Glenn.
Okay, here we go. 3 different perspectives. These are perspectives, and there's 3 of them. There's 3 different ones. Here we go.
First, the moral obligations, then the regulatory obligations, and then what I find most important is the obligations of our movement in order to establish barriers and to have instructive moments. And I think this is one.
Well, I think that and the first one are the same then, because it's a moral structure, not a regulatory one. And again, the government shouldn't be in charge of defining morals anyways.
Certainly. The moral obligation. Glenn, you had a hit show on Fox.
Okay, moral obligation, throw it right out the fucking window. Meaningless to the conversation. If the company has a moral obligation to do this, then you're insisting that there should be morals on shows for them to get a license. You absolutely aren't, because you lie all the time. Glenn lies all the time. That your little AI videos are defamatory and derogatory and hideous and all that kind of stuff. You have no problem doing that. You presume, like in some of his openings, he's had AI videos of Hillary Clinton killing Jeffrey Epstein in prison. So obviously this is not a standard he believes applies to him.
Fox for how many years? A decade? You were the #1 rated broadcast in the world on cable news for how long?
Oh, you mean when there was barely cable?
I don't know. 2 years.
Okay. Either way, it was must-see TV. It was
No. That's weekdays during the evening, largely on NBC.
You made the chalkboard. You probably sold more. You're probably the biggest chalkboard salesman in the history of the world.
The chalkboard industry does love me. Yes.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Well, if you hate public schools.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
If you went out on your show and you were very prescient. I mean, I got to tell you, man, there was nothing like Glenn Beck calling out the Soros Foundation from 1,000 yards away when nobody was talking about this kind of stuff. You were talking about Bill Ayers. You were saying some pretty radical stuff about Barack Obama.
Yeah.
All of it turned out to be true.
Nope.
But you wouldn't even have been able to finish your opening monologue if you had said Michelle Obama deserves to be a widow.
So that was the line. Okay. Morally, would you not think it would be important to, if you're saying someone said something awful, to quote them not only in their verbatim, but also in their meaning directly? Did the Jimmy Kimmel joke, which is, look at Melania, so beautiful. She sits there with the glow of an expectant widow. The glow of an expectant widow, putting on her the character of a gold digger who looks forward to the day when her husband passes away because he's old. That's the joke. Everybody recognizes that's the joke. Anybody who doesn't is selling something, including Benny. But I want you to hear again Benny's description of what Jimmy Kimmel said.
wouldn't even have been able to finish your opening monologue if you had said Michelle Obama deserves to be a widow.
That's what he says. Jimmy Kimmel said that she deserves to be a widow.
Correct.
If you had said Michelle Obama deserves to be a widow and not
right, no one said in this context, I'm sure somebody has somewhere, said that she deserves to be a widow. This is fucking wholly made up. And so morally, this is a lie. It's a defamatory lie specifically designed to make, restate what someone said and make it evil. That's not at all what it meant. That wasn't the basis of the joke. That wasn't even close. And either we have of the three options he's putting up, I have two. Either one, Benny is stupid and can't read or process, I guess, the English language, or two, C number one.
And not only that, a glowing widow, meaning she
a glowing widow
would like for her husband to die. Then you wouldn't have been. You would have been pulled from the show, right? You wouldn't.
Yes,
the 5 second.
Right, and I would have deserved
am I wrong?
it. However,
yes. That if you made that about Stephen Hawking's and his nurse wife or anybody else in power who had anybody, Anna Nicole Smith. If Anna Nicole Smith was sitting there and she has the glow of an expectant widow, these motherfuckers would laugh. As a matter of fact, I would argue that sounds like a joke Glenn would tell back in his original days as a shock jock. Just for the record.
Am I wrong?
No,
Am I wrong?
Yes, you're wrong.
No. But
okay,
hang on
so
just a second.
if you said that
no,
about Hillary
not.
Clinton,
hang on.
If you said about Hillary Clinton or Jill Biden, you would have been pulled as well. And if you would use Jimmy Kimmel's ration, so this is the moral. This is like the moral. We're going to talk about like the moral. Yeah.
Betty, wait.
Yes.
But I wouldn't have had the FCC come after me. Fox would have done it. The FCC doesn't have anything to do with cable news, so they couldn't have done it that way. They would have. What would have happened is the left would have mounted a campaign, and the right would have folded. And Fox, honestly, I think Fox would have been right to fire me had I said something like that. Okay, but it wouldn't.
But it would have been their prerogative, not the government.
Been the FCC, and it wouldn't have been the federal government.
Glenn, please allow me to construct my argument. I'll wheel in a chalkboard next time,
I'm sorry.
and I'll draw it out. Okay.
Okay. What the point he was making is your first argument isn't an argument for why someone should be fired or be, there should be government action, which is what Benny is arguing for.
Draw it out for
All right,
okay,
go ahead.
So let's go. Right. So first off, there is no moral ground for Jimmy Kimmel to stand on. If Jimmy Kimmel himself had said this about Jill Biden and used the same rationale, because Jill Biden is significantly younger than Joe, like by, I think, 15 years. And he said, well, Melania is younger than Trump. That's why she's an expectant widow. It wouldn't apply to Jill Biden. If he had said,
well, yeah, because she's closer in age by a lot than Jill, than Melania is. And also, no, these guys don't even they mock Jill Biden for her doctor credit, whereas they think Melania came over here on a genius visa, and that I think none of them would not. I think they all would admit she's a trophy wife.
Said Jill Biden is an expectant widow. Joe Biden has terminal cancer. He'd be ripped off air too. Same thing about Hillary Clinton. Hillary's younger than Bill.
Well, the glow of an expectant widow, but and I don't think they would. The joke would just fall flat because Jill Biden actually loves Joe, and the idea that she's just waiting to cash in on his estate is silly.
And Bill's not in good shape, but he wouldn't be able to get away with that. We all know what's going on. It's permissible to celebrate and to fetishize the death of Republicans, and that's what they're signaling here. And so I want to just establish that.
Sorry, was it liberals that were yelling "Hang Mike Pence" on Jan 6, Mr. Back the Blue?
Morally, you wouldn't be able to get away with it any other way. And the fact that they're letting
well, just because the joke doesn't work the same way on everybody, again, it would work the same way with Anna Nicole Smith. He's putting Melania in the same category. That's why it would work. With Joe Biden or with Michelle Obama or with Hillary Clinton, it just doesn't work on just the facts of the relationships.
100% agree.
Yeah, on this. And then with that BS rationale, of course, that, oh, she's younger, so I can say something like this. How about
Well, it's not just that she's younger. It's that she's a younger former model slash possibly escort, and she was introduced to him by Jeffrey Epstein with the idea that there's a sunset clause in this.
how about this, Glenn? I was raised in Shoeyville, Iowa. This is a town of 412 people. There is one gas station that's also the town bar and also the town pizzeria and also the town VHS rental shop. That's where I grew up. If you were to walk into that bar on a Friday night, and you normally could, and find a couple of old timers sitting there with their wives, and they're both having a light beer, right? And that's how they unwind on a Friday night at the gas station bar, pizzeria, video rental shop. And if you were to walk up to that farmer and say, your wife looks like an expectant widow, what do you think would happen?
Well, I think that directly, yeah, you'd probably, I mean, considering they're drinking in the video rental section, they'd probably start fighting you.
Happen.
You'd
I get
probably
my ass kicked.
punched in the mouth.
I get my ass
Well, that's not fair, though, because, Benny, you got your ass kicked all the time.
kicked across the street and into the soybean field. That's what would happen in Shoeyville.
It was a soy problem. Now I understand. He grew up on a soy farm. This makes so much more sense.
Iowa, where I'm from, probably where you're from too, I would assume, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would ever, like, no, in no universe is Jimmy Kimmel's explanation of this logical. Not with other first ladies, not with your wife, not with anyone's wife. So, and on every level, this should be knocked down. And the FCC is going to. The FCC took action against ABC News in their own station yesterday. And I want to talk through why this is different.
Sorry, why would you go after ABC News when the entertainment arm does Jimmy Kimmel's show? His is not a news show. It's a late night comedy show.
Than what we could say on this program or what we could say anywhere else, because you are free to say that. You are free. I would be free to walk into that bar and suffer the consequences of the farmer punching me in the mouth.
Can we make that a show? Or
Jimmy Kimmel is free to stand on a street corner, pick up a cardboard box, scribble on it, and yell whatever he wants. He's gone to No Kings protests. He's done this. I'm not saying Jimmy Kimmel shouldn't do this. I'm not against Jimmy Kimmel's free speech. That's free speech. What I am against is taxpayer subsidized calls to assassination.
how is fucking Kimmel's late night show on ABC taxpayer subsidy?
Which is what we are doing right now with Jimmy Kimmel.
No, we're not.
Well, let me explain. Jimmy Kimmel operates on a federal broadcast license. This is
right. That they pay for.
From the FCC. These are authorities that were granted to specific networks in 1923. These specific networks have an option to operate on an electromagnetic spectrum that is considered a scarce public resource that the FCC
Oh my God. So this asshole thinks anybody watches television with rabbit ears.
Manages and licenses specifically to prevent interference between stations so that they can have licensures and broadcasts in times of emergency. These broadcasters must serve in the public interest and convenience and necessity and have core legal standards and obligations under the 1924 Communications Acts. These licenses.
Yeah, but there's been a shit ton of attacks on those networks about this very issue over the years, and their free speech rights have been upheld.
Do not own the spectrum. The government owns the spectrum. The government gives them a temporary privilege to use that spectrum. This applies to some AM, FM radio stations. It applies to all major public broadcasters. That would be PBS, ABC, NBC, and CBS. They have to exist under a fair time, equal time, in the public interest broadcast viewers, and they can be penalized.
Yeah, no, they don't have to do an equal time thing if they're not the news.
Or have their licenses stripped if they are found to be broadcasting profanity, pornography, if they are found to be broadcasting untruths, things that they know are verifiable lies.
Oh, please. You really want to go down that road?
If they're found to be operating outside of the public interest, which is a broad legal.
Well, right. And there are a lot of people who believe it's in the public interest for comedians to make fun of the president of the United States in whatever form gets laughs.
Descriptor of what your broadcast should be. And I would argue, Glenn, that since Jimmy Kimmel is using this billion, if not trillions of dollars of infrastructure that was built by the government, that's maintained by the taxpayers, that
No, it isn't.
has been serviced.
No. Sorry, the broadcast antennas aren't built by the taxpayer.
By our federal dollars, that he should have to apply for these standards. And these standards do not cover him making fun of Charlie Kirk's assassination, calling for the assassination of a duly elected president.
Which he didn't do.
In no universe should that be allowed. So that it is impermissible under the operations of Jimmy Kimmel's and ABC News's lavish
Again, ABC News and ABC Entertainment are different organizations.
privileges that they get from the federal taxpayer dollars. Jimmy Kimmel
No, they don't. They own the license because they pay for it.
can do what every other bum does and get on a street corner with a cardboard sign. He can start a YouTube. He can go on Spotify. Jimmy Kimmel can do whatever the hell he wants.
Right. He can lie online like you do.
He can do smoke signals up in the mountains. That's also free speech. But Jimmy Kimmel shouldn't be able to use my tax dollars at force, which is what's going on. Because if you don't pay taxes and I don't pay taxes to Jimmy Kimmel, we go to prison.
We don't pay taxes to Jimmy Kimmel.
So that's force.
No, it isn't.
With that force, and
No, it isn't, because you have representatives who dole out how much money goes where and stuff. And so you're being forced to, you pay taxes into it, but you also elect people and they compete with, sometimes conflicting ideas and work out stuff in the middle and create a budget, for example. In the same, like this asshole acts like we're being, I'm talking about our tax dollars going to fight Iran or Gaza.
and with that privilege comes standards. Therefore, Jimmy Kimmel should be ripped off air and the FCC should do a full investigation of ABC and their broadcast licenses and
in that order. He should be ripped off the air and then an investigation.
As shooting, Glenn, that's exactly what they're doing right now.
Tell me about the taxpayer funding. Go a little deeper on that for me, Benny, and then let's talk about the movement, because you said it was moral. I think you made the case on that. Regulatory, I'm not sure. And then what it means for the movement. So let's go back to the funding.
So this electromagnetic spectrum is maintained by transistors. It is maintained
transistors
by towers,
by things with electronic molecular structures.
And those towers are incredibly important to the broadcast
and
capacity.
They're all paid for by the local stations or the corporations, not the federal government. None of that is federal government money.
Of course, but what those licenses...
Yeah. No. See, Benny didn't know what he was talking about, right? This is fucking stupid. Benny, Glenn's been in radio for a long time. The stations pay for their equipment. And the government, by the way, can take over those signals in wartime and that kind of stuff. But
none of that is federal government money.
Of course, but what those licenses allow is for federal deductions. It allows for operations to be maintained throughout.
No, not at all.
This system.
All right, you can see the look on Glenn's face. He knows he is talking to someone who is flatulating out of his face.
The corporations that own these licenses have these lavish privileges in order to
No, and again, if it's a privilege they're paying for, again,
broadcast directly into every single home. How much more valuable would...
Well, no, they can't broadcast into every home unless you have a TV that receives broadcast signals and you actually use it for that. You are not forced to watch any of these channels.
My program be if every TV came with The Benny Show, loaded in and locked in, and it's just a channel you click on and you don't have to pay for. Again, there are federal subsidies.
Well, you would still have to pay for all your production and everything. And on cable systems, you buy your channel as well.
That go into that. And Glenn, you've been around this business enough to know that these kind of things...
He's trying to give Benny the benefit of the doubt, but goddamn,
become massive write-offs. These kind of things have huge loopholes, and one way or another, the taxpayer ends up paying for it.
No, they don't.
I can't go there with you, but I can see your point. But I can't go there with you. I mean, it's because that's a business expense, and don't let me do your taxes.
Broadcast.
I know ABC broadcast is worth much less than a cable network is now, and both of them are going to hell in a handbasket because of the internet. So it's not like it was 20 years ago. But go ahead.
How much more valuable would my program be if every single TV in the country for the last 100 years had my program automatically loaded into it for $0?
Also, there's been no program automatically loaded, any single program in the entirety of ABC. There's been a network, and Benny's not on a network. Your show would have to pay for itself. It would have to pull eyeballs, or they would give that limited time slot to everyone else. One of the reasons why his show works at all and why shows like mine and others can exist is because we don't have to compete for an 8 o'clock time slot on a Thursday night with, opposite Friends or some show. God damn.
That is a massive gift to every broadcaster that gets those precious licenses.
It is a gift, but it is a diminishing gift. But I get it. All right, go ahead.
But doesn't the American tax, through the FCC and through the use of that bandwidth and through the giving of that bandwidth and then the maintenance, even if that maintenance comes directly from the FCC and their own staff,
they don't maintain electromagnetic waves
and the licensures and the
I honest to fucking God don't know what he's talking about.
Phalanx of lawyers that it takes to run the FCC and to monitor all this. Isn't that prima facie a gift from the taxpayer?
No. These frequencies exist in nature. The government simply defines the lanes that you're allowed to use. That's why there were separate frequencies that they had to work out, because any one of them, if they just broadcasted on all of them, would eat everybody else's signal. So in this range, depending on how much data, how much image and sound you want to put out, you can only, the minimum amount you can use in these frequencies to divide them up when there's not crisscross, it has to be clearly defined. Otherwise, ABC would just crank up their transmitter, broaden the bandwidth of what they were putting out, and swallow the signal of the other networks if they weren't farther out there. So fuck, man. This asshole's like, he thinks that the paint industry licenses the visible spectrum of light. So dumb.
Actually, it's a curse on the taxpayer. I'd like to see all of it abolished myself.
Thank you.
But
now
I don't want to make the case that, hey, we need more lawyers and more regulations.
Now we're talking, Glenn.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So go.
By the way, all this would do is eliminate, any kind of broadcasting, any kind of show for people that don't have cable or satellite at this point. Like people who live out in the sticks and, people who have just, can't afford cable, can't afford internet or whatever. They just watch television that's available to them. It would just eliminate that, because if it was just the Wild West, you wouldn't be able to get a clear signal of anything. Same thing with radio, by the way.
Go to the movement. What does this mean about our movement?
Yeah. So you were at Charlie's funeral. You did a number of events and were so close with Charlie. And when I saw what Jimmy Kimmel did to my dear friend in the mere hours after his death, which is, of course, to lie about the nature of the shooting, to lie in favor of the assassin, to lie about who the assassin was and why they killed Charlie. To call him MAGA is to say that Charlie deserved that death because Charlie would have been a MAGA movement president.
Oh, right. Sorry. So they were looking at his upbringing and all the stuff that was coming out at that time. And then later on, he had split from his family. And this doesn't matter, by the way, because even that taking early reports, making a joke about it because everybody wants to be in the front of the line, is nowhere near what Candace Owens has been saying about, Charlie's death and Erica and everybody involved in it. Not even close. Charlie Kirk is who they're talking about.
In the coming years, he would have been
also, by the way, just because if you assert that someone is MAGA and attempted to kill somebody who's allegedly on their side, for example, like Thomas Crooks, attempting to shoot Trump specifically because of ideology it seems he got from Alex Jones, which is Trump as an imperfect candidate. If he were to die, it would give us an opportunity to replace him with someone who carries on the torch, but it has a lot less of the baggage. And then less than a month later, here comes Thomas Crooks shooting at him in Butler. That calling that out or pointing that out doesn't mean that the person who was shot at deserves to die.
Probably 49 or 50. So to say that his shooter was MAGA is to say that Charlie created the movement that killed him, which is, of course, the opposite of what happened.
Also, no, Charlie did not create MAGA, for one. And it seems like he was drifting from Trump's version of MAGA towards the AF, the America First crowd.
Jimmy Kimmel refused to talk about motive. He did the same thing, by the way, in his non-apology to Melania Trump last night. He refused to talk about the gunman's motive in Washington, D.C. This alone is, of course, lying by omission. They know damn well why these people are murdering Republicans, Trump, or trying to murder Trump and murdering Charlie. And so when I saw Jimmy Kimmel do that, I said, of course, this is abhorrent. And
right, it's abhorrent. That's why you thought it was fucking hilarious when Don Jr. said, "Here's my Halloween costume with a pair of underwear and a hammer."
We led the charge on social media to say this is totally wrong and people need to call their local broadcast affiliates to get Jimmy Kimmel ripped off air. And sure enough, Jimmy Kimmel got taken off air for a week or two. But what happened afterward repulsed me and made me so angry, because what happened afterward.
Yeah, it's the frustration of having a double standard and being faced with it.
Was we got woke scolded by our own side, by people on our own side. Ben Shapiro, Ted Cruz used this as an opportunity to get a little doggy treat and a pat on the head by the left, and to say in this moment where I'm simply trying to defend the legacy of Charlie and say this is disgusting, which, by the way, Erica agrees with me. All of the individuals at Turning Point that currently operate and built Charlie's show with him, they all agree with me. They were all repulsed and sickened by this.
So was I.
We had attacks from the right telling us which is what always happens.
Okay, dipshit. Here's the problem. Calling the network, calling the affiliates, and saying I disagree with this is your free speech right against their will to post something or to portray something on television or to allow a show to stay on, and it has an impact. But it does not involve the government force to override someone's rights. It is everyone's right to use their voice to call somebody out for what they said. That's normal. And what's, I think, the weirdest thing about this is how Benny Johnson doesn't see the difference. Benny Johnson doesn't materially, intellectually understand the difference between viewers voicing their own disdain for something and causing the network to respond, and the government acting as a cudgel against someone's free speech rights. He can't tell the difference. He's that fucking dumb. All right. I know I'm racing past time and this is aggravating to me, but I'm enjoying the infighting anyways. The other part of this, and good Lord, just the amount of stupid. All right. Is this part. Okay. So MTG and Tucker Carlson are having their own little broken clock moment. And there's been a lot of conversation on our side of the aisle about how welcoming we should be to folks like this. Okay, all right. These folks don't agree with us on policy, never have, never will. And finally recognizing that Donald Trump is a grifter, con man, Timu, Antichrist, Timu, P.T. Barnum is not a moment of, social or moral conviction. It is simply a recognition of the facts. So when they come to this conclusion, it is not out of growth. It is not out of, they have found a moment. They've seen the light. They have simply seen the lie and admitting that they were lied to and that they bought it would reflect poorly on their on themselves, their character, and their own ego. So what they want to do in the case of Tucker Carlson is make up this story that somebody changed Trump. Somebody cast a spell on him. Somebody whispered in his ear and made him do this. So when I would really just say that at this point, rats know when a ship is sinking. That does not mean that they are suddenly aware that the captain of the ship was wholly unqualified and drunk before they left the dock. So you are under no obligation when these people, I guess, come to their senses on the fact that they've been lied to somehow expect that they will understand or be on your side in anything else. They will not. And it's not even a question, but it's fun to watch.
So Mike Lawler is and Don Bacon is another name you mentioned a minute ago, but is kind of a metaphor for the corruption in the system. It would seem to me. So Mike Lawler obviously is way out there on pointless wars, neocon politics, loyalty to Israel, almost to a cartoonish point.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a congressperson, Mike Lawler, and they're starting off of vilifying him. The idea is that he got elected and he might be one of the people that's talking Trump into this. I'm fairly certain that's the direction they're going with this.
But he's also leading
because it can't be Trump's fault.
The charge on every other anti-human initiative that comes out of the United States Congress. Anything that's bad for the public, he's for. Anything that might help the public, he ignores. Like, what is that? What is
standard MAGA Republican ideology?
His motive? Do you understand?
I'll go back to when he was a candidate for Congress. I was already serving in the House. And in our conference meetings, in our GOP conference meetings, the ones that we have at the Capitol Hill, we have two different type of conference meetings. Each week, there's one meeting a week. And it's kind of sad that your Republican representatives only meet one time a week. But once a week, and one is either political, and that one...
Well, there's hundreds of them.
One happens inside the Capitol. And then there's another kind that's completely and totally campaign and fundraising related. That one happens off campus at...
First of all, it's not a campus. And secondly, of course it does, because that has to do with the party, not the representation that's actually taking place.
The Capitol Hill Club. And they bring in candidates. They'll bring in, any new candidate running for Congress that, of course, is only approved by the NRCC and approved by the traditional establishment Republican Party in Washington. So they will bring in these candidates.
Yeah, because they dole out the money. I'm sick of this shit where they're like, they only let the candidates they think are good for the party in or something. Even if they're wrong, it doesn't matter. It's their fucking party. It's a private organization. The DNC is a private organization. It is not a government organization. The taxpayer doesn't pay for the DNC, and they don't pay for the RNC either. They have the right to fuck up. And they and insofar as like establishment goes, it's such a lazy fucking word to vilify with. We establish these truths to be self-evident. You have an established city government as well. Just fucking lazy. Of course they're going to establish something and try to maintain it. Just call out their mistakes. Call out the fact that the people that are in charge shouldn't be, and say why. But the idea that simply the existence of an established functioning structure is evidence of ill will is lazy.
Candidates into this GOP meeting, they'll have them stand up, raise their hand, introduce themselves. The speaker or the leader, whoever is talking, will praise them and explain to everyone in the room why they've got to write them a max check immediately and help get them elected because they're fighting to become part of the team. So I remember specifically when Michael...
Yeah, that would be the operative part of the team, as if it takes a group and you can't have just a bunch of rogue people borrowing the name. Again, I don't like what these people are up to, but that doesn't mean that simply having an attempt to organize and make sure everybody's on the same page is somehow a sign of evil. It's so fucking lazy, but Please fight amongst yourself.
Mike Lawler came in, and he was welcomed in by everybody. I mean, he was propped up as the guy we have to fight for. One of the most critical races as an
That Tucker did not like that. No, sorry, Bob.
incoming Republican candidate, because it was a very close district. And it was so important. We were told it was so important to win this district. Well, I learned a lot about him very quickly. He, as a Catholic, Mike Lawler as a Catholic, was heavily supported and funded by the Jewish community there, and was heavily being supported by all the Christian Zionists. And he instantly had more support from pretty much every fundraising mechanism that there is in Washington, D.C. that
Which, by the way, she was completely on board with this shit until she wasn't.
supports Republicans. He had more help than I could have ever dreamed of having ever in my entire political career.
That's not true. She actually was, she and I guess Matt Gaetz were the two biggest fundraisers. Now, that might be by percentage, and that might have been at a particularly low point, and therefore them being the highest was, I guess, criticism by faint praise. But she certainly was able to raise a shit ton of money.
And I was like, wow, what is going on with this guy? And it turns out he did win his race. It was a narrow victory, but he did win it. And of course, he instantly came into the House of Representatives completely bought and paid for by all of the establishment donor class that had supported him.
Okay, by the way, the title of this video is not Mike Lawler is bought and paid for. The title of this video is Trump is bought and paid for.
He hated Donald Trump, made fun of him constantly, mimicked him, making fun of his voice. He used to attack me, make fun of me, come and find me on the House floor and make fun of me for supporting Donald Trump. And this was in the 4 years before Trump got elected as president again in 2024. And I was just like, this guy's like literally one of the worst. Well, I would say he's the worst, but Randy Fine is really the worst. But Mike Lawler was unbelievably, I thought he was a Democrat. I was like, he's literally a Democrat. He's so against all the things that Republican voters care about. And he clearly hates Donald Trump. Well, I saw this unbelievable,
except for the fact that Donald Trump supports everything that Mike Lawler wants.
change in him. And of course, it happened after Trump won his primary in 2024. All of a sudden, Mike Lawler, I started joking. I started calling him MAGA Mike Lawler, because he was all of a sudden like becoming Trump's biggest supporter. And he was all excited. He got a MAGA hat signed by Donald Trump, came straight up to me to show it to me.
So Trump signed the hat for him, even in spite of what he'd said before. And that wasn't a sign to you that Donald Trump actually supported what Michael Lawler wanted to do. That never occurred to you because you're stupid.
And I'll never forget the day that he had gone and met with the president at the White House. Of course, I was not invited. Only all the Republicans that hated the president before. Let me tell you, Tucker, it all changed. When Trump went in the White House, literally in a matter of months, those of us that fought for him when no one else would, who were basically like the inner circle, we all of a sudden got kicked out. And it was the Republicans like Mike Lawler and all these other guys that were the ones being constantly ushered into the White House for meetings and all kinds of things. So he came back on the House floor one day and he had one of Trump's gigantic challenge coins that's like big and gold and obnoxious and heavy. And he came up and he was like, I've got one of these, Marjorie. Do you have one of these? And he was all bragging about it. But you know what that told me, Tucker, is what I really, reflecting on it now, that I didn't really realize at that time, was that the president, not only was Mike Lawler fully bought and paid for by this, and Don Bacon and all these other guys.
All of them. All the big Republicans bought and paid for.
Fully bought and paid for by the political industrial complex.
The political industrial complex, which isn't a thing.
That maintains the power structure in Washington that is completely American.
I thought that was the deep state.
Collapsed. But the fact that they were the ones now first on the list to go to the White House and the ones being courted all the time. That meant that that's when the president also became bought and paid for.
Ouch.
By the exact same group of people, powerful donor class, and the powerful industries.
So the
Notice she said the president and not Trump's name.
reason Mike Lawler was unusual, even in the Congress, was he was such a
You're just going to skip past the point that she said, who gives a fuck about Mike Lawler? He's a single member of Congress. Trump is bought and paid for, is what she just said. That's the way to bury the lead, dipshit.
slavish servant of Israel. From his very first public statements. Everything was about Israel. He comes from a district with a lot of problems. I didn't.
Do you mean a lot of Jews? Also, by the way, what does Mike Lawler say that's any different than what Trump says?
Read a single solution to any of those problems he was proposing, but it was always about Israel. Would you say that the group that hated Trump and then early in the term got invitations to the White House, were they all servants of Israel?
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Are you kidding me? Tucker, when I introduced an amendment to defund Israel just last year, it hasn't even been a year yet. Only 5 other members of Congress, 5 out of 435, only 5 voted with me to defund American taxpayer dollars going to Israel. So that's your
Who are the other 4?
count. If you want to know how many members of Congress on both sides of the aisle are completely beholden to funding Israel, no matter what they do, no matter how much.
Oh, by the way, no. Just because somebody doesn't want to sign on to something with you doesn't necessarily mean that it's because they're bought and paid for by Israel. You could also, and this might be a shock, be so toxic that nobody wants to sign on to any of your bullshit bills, period. They have their own bills that do that as well.
Genocide they commit, no matter how many Lebanon Christian villages they destroy, no matter which country they decide to bomb out of their madness and desire for destruction.
Sorry, they did? Who's they? Donald Trump pulled the trigger on this.
There's only it was only 5. It's total 6 of us. There were 6 of us, including myself. That's your count.
I assume Massey was one of those.
Of course, Thomas Massey was one. Of course.
Yeah.
He's not bought and paid for, which is why his race is the most important race that has to be won. None of the other ones really matter.
It's because the other 4 were Democrats.
I don't want to get too sidetracked, but since you mentioned his race, where is that race now?
It is tightened. He's still in the lead, but it's definitely tightened. I've seen different polling. It's got him anywhere of approximately 5 to 7 points ahead of this guy named Ed Galrin, who, by the way, Ed Galrin won't even show up to debate Thomas Massey. Like, it's like campaign 101. If you're running for Congress, you should be able to show up to a debate in your district and
yeah, Republicans haven't been showing up for town halls for years.
Front of the people that you're wanting to vote for you, and you should be able to show up in person and stand in front of a microphone and a camera against your opponent and address why you will be a better representative than the current representative, Thomas Massey. And Ed Galrin has not shown up to a single one. As far as my knowledge, he hasn't shown up at all. And by the way, he's completely funded by 3 Zionist billionaires.
Sorry, I just enjoy the kind of just kind of like knee-jerk anti-Semitism. I don't care, but it's funny to watch.
100% funded that have given tens of millions of dollars, and they don't even live in his district. They couldn't relate to Kentucky. That they only know about Tel Aviv. It's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen.
This is great, by the way. I apologize for not having popcorn.
Happened, and Chris LaCivita is the guy that's running the race because of course, Chris LaCivita, who does he work for? Lindsey Graham, John Cornyn, some of the worst Republicans, and he's doing everything he can.
You mean the ones who keep getting reelected over and over again? I mean, what did she last 3 terms? 2 terms? 3, right? What was the like before she quit? So meanwhile, Lindsey Graham and John Cornyn keep getting reelected over and over again. So maybe it's the voters that vote Republican that keep reelecting them. They didn't kick them out. You left.
Aligning himself with these 3 Zionist billionaires to defeat Thomas Massey.
Okay. I think this is a piece of that interview. Let's see. Yep.
So it wasn't until President Trump threatened Iran's civilian.
Okay, so this is one of the pieces, one of the clips that Tucker put on his own network. I'm sure it won't include the part where he lies and says he didn't call Trump the Antichrist or insinuate that he was. And also, he doesn't directly call anybody anything most of the time. He allows for the inference thereof, like a coward. But this is just in case you're wondering, when I say like a coward, I'm calling Tucker Carlson a coward. I'm not just leaving that out there for you to work out for yourself. That's my opinion. So anyways, this is what they started with Trump. And
civilian infrastructure with a profane Truth Social post this past Easter Sunday that you actually started quite explicitly speaking out against him.
Yeah, you can't attack Jesus. How's that?
Well,
I don't know that he was attacking Jesus. I just think he was taking the day for granted because I don't think he knew it was Sunday because the motherfucker doesn't go to church.
In a monologue on your show, you said, "How dare you speak that way on Easter morning to the country?"
And Trump went, "Oh shit, it's Easter morning?" Dude, he didn't even remember it was Melania's birthday last week.
Tell me what you were responding to right then.
He doesn't know when it's day or night, much less Easter.
Because it really is, I think, a seminal...
I think, you know when I think Trump found out that it was Easter legitimately? After the rabbit had been following him around for half a day.
Moment for you in terms of publicly breaking with the president.
So I will say, I don't do monologues. So that's ad lib. So that's just, I didn't write it. I don't have notes. It's just like, that's how I feel. So it's
bullshit. He writes monologues and he's clearly reading from a teleprompter on his little opening remarks. He definitely veers off of them, but he's speaking. He's not speaking extemporaneously all the time on these things. He has clearly written pieces.
Probably
he does.
Not as coherent as it should be. But that was really just an emotional reaction to the experience of waking up on Easter Sunday, the holiest day on the Christian calendar, and a day of joy and hope, literally the resurrection of Jesus, and seeing Donald Trump using profanity, threatening to murder civilians.
Right. I think the most shocking part of that is how the fuck were you shocked? That's who he is. That's how he thinks. It never occurred to you that he couldn't quote Jesus wept if his life depended on it without a teleprompter and prompting through an earpiece?
I mean, that's a crime. That's a moral crime.
It's not actually a crime or a moral crime. It's just gross.
So to brag about that and then to mock Islam, I don't think you should mock people's faith.
Also, by the way, first of all, he mocks people's faith all the time. Secondly, I don't think he was mocking people's faith. I think he was trying to co-opt the praise be to Allah thing because he thought it would sound like a mad dog thing to do and it would confuse the people of Iran that he actually meant it.
I don't care if it's Judaism or Christianity or Islam.
He kind of does.
But it's especially galling as a Christian I voted for
TM
Trump in.
Right, which is why I would say there's a trademark on the end of your Christian label because I don't buy it. I don't buy how a Christian votes for Jeffrey Epstein's wingman and a man who has bragged about grabbing women by the pussy. And if you're a star, they allowed you to do it for millions of years. It's been that way, and it's how it should be, fortunately.
In 2024. And one of the main, and I never vote typically, but I voted for him this last election and campaigned for him in a bunch of cities with him.
And nothing ever tipped you off?
Because I felt that there was clear persecution of Christians in this country.
Okay. By Joe Biden, who went to church every Sunday, who's a Catholic. And you thought You thought Donald Trump would be better for Christians the way he was going to be better for the Gazans.
People of faith. And it was demonstrable. And I felt that Trump,
No, it wasn't. It was not. It was arguable. It was not demonstrable.
Based this on his explicit promises, would be a protector of, never thought Trump was a Christian for a moment, but I thought that Trump, I took him at his word, would be a defender of faith, people of faith who need to be defended. And this country exists to defend them. It's in our charter. So,
well, it's there to defend all faiths, not one.
Anyway, I was just...
Yes, he just said, I don't normally vote. Right. Which is, by the way, what Republicans are afraid of in the midterms. There's a lot of people like Tucker that came out, voted for Trump, and then they're going to bug out.
Completely outraged by that.
Since that moment, you've gone even further. You recently said on your show that you'll be tormented for a long time by the fact that you played a role in getting Donald Trump elected. And you said, I'm sorry for misleading people. That's gotten a lot of attention, as I'm sure you know.
I don't know because I don't Google myself ever. But
bullshit.
I would like to understand exactly what you mean. Can you explain?
I'll tell you what I mean. I truly believe that the baseline requirement, the ticket of admission to the conversation, is admitting when you are wrong.
Yeah, but it's not enough to just admit you were wrong. Like, how wrong, and the fact that you vilified other people who were telling you were wrong is also a part of it. You owe them an apology too.
And I spent 10 years defending Trump on Fox News. I'd probably do it again because on the issues I agree with him. I never defended a single thing I didn't believe. But
well, that's because that's not true either. And no, that's clearly a lie. There were a lot of things he defended that he didn't believe about Trump, so that he could get from Trump what he thought he would get.
At this point, the consequences of this decision are so bad for the United States and for my family and your family that, like, you just have to say it out loud. Like, I'm a small reason. I don't think I moved a lot of votes, but I tried to. I told people, this guy will keep us out of the next Iraq. Specifically, will keep us out of a regime change war with Iran. And here we are in the middle of a regime change war in Iran.
Huh. Now, it could be that Donald Trump is just a master showman and salesman, and you're just great at this. Or it could be that you've always been full of shit and self-involved, and that your priorities about brown people overrid your judgment in every other area. Or you were lying at the time, and now there's just no money in that lie anymore, so now you're jumping ship.
Where hundreds of Americans have been wounded, some number have been killed, they won't tell us. And that's just the opposite of what I said would happen.
13, although we lost 2 more who allegedly, quote, fell off a ship near Morocco.
And so I'm sorry.
So I hear you say that, but I am compelled to question it a little bit, because are you simply just going public about something that you felt privately for some time? Because in 2021, through the Dominion lawsuit against Fox News, some of your texts went public.
Right.
And I'm just quoting from a couple of them. You know, you said, there really isn't an upside to Trump. You said, I hate him passionately. I mean, clearly you had some feelings of reservation about the president.
Without question.
Before this.
Right. And then you went back to lying for him.
Time.
There's no doubt.
Yes, there is some doubt. You were either lying to them or you're lying to everybody now.
So I'm just trying to understand the...
You know, I have a lot of thoughts and theories about things which, may or may not be rooted in reality.
You don't say. Tell her the demon story.
I like wood. Deeper and longer. So I hesitate even to spring any of my theories on you because, they're probably insane. But...
Yeah, I would guess so. What a way to categorize almost everything you fucking say. I'd hate to spring my theories on you because they're probably insane. Maybe you should just step back and not talk about politics or geopolitical events or domestic issues ever again if your theories seem insane to you.
But one thing that has bothered me for many years is the fact that a lot of people in Trump's immediate orbit have been hurt. and really hurt, gone to prison, become unemployable, publicly shamed, gotten cancer.
I don't know that those are related unless he's got a cancer, Ray.
And I just am a believer in like big picture assessments of things. And, so you're trying to think like,
sorry, I can't get past the fact that he just insinuated that Trump, people sacrificed their lives for him or whatever, and he just let them go, or that he gave people cancer.
Is Trump good or bad? Like, he's saying things I really agree with, but then people around him are getting hurt. Is the country actually getting better? I don't know. It's hard to know.
No, it isn't.
Because to some extent, your vision is obscured by the intensity of some of these debates. Mine is easily obscured by that intensity. But did I have reservations about Trump?
Edit.
Of course. And, to some extent.
So I don't know if that edit came from New York Times or from him. He clearly cut something out there.
Then I sublimated them or rationalized them away or focused on areas where I agreed with him. All my fault. But I told myself, and I to some extent still believe, like, it's the big decisions that matter. And I knew, because I know the Democratic leadership really well, that they're completely under the control of the same forces. And
well, then why didn't Biden invade Iran? Why didn't he stay in Afghanistan when it would have been politically expedient and safe? Why didn't Obama invade Iran when he had the chance? Why did he make a deal? Why did he attempt to make a deal? Why was it Donald Trump that tore up that deal? What the fuck are you talking about? Again, this is someone excusing themselves for what they did by vilifying the alternative to make themselves look like I was trapped. There really wasn't anything I could do. He was my only choice. Now I realize that choice was bad, but did I really have a choice to begin with? Fuck you.
And that we would get a regime change war inevitably in Iran if they were elected. And so I told myself, Trump.
Why? For real? Where was the appetite for this in, under Biden or Obama? This is horse shit. And if you're asserting this is just as diluted and insane as believing Donald Trump would be the fucking peace president. He who said, I was going to get us out of Afghanistan with beauty and strength, and we were going to get out with dignity and power and all this, but we're going to keep Bagram and stay there forever because it's an hour from where China makes their nuclear weapons, so we're never going to leave. How do you fucking get out and stay at the same time, shithead?
Is the way to avoid the really bad thing.
I feel so sorry for this woman, and I hope she gets a nice NPR job in the future where she doesn't have to talk to people.
Come back to this moment for you, which is there's the political case against Trump that you make. But I do want to ask you about the moral case that you've been making as well. And that's a word that you've used, in that monologue responding to Trump's Easter.
I don't remember anything I've ever said, and so you're probably lying about what I said, unless you show me video of what I've said, and then I probably will just deny it.
Post, you said that Trump's comments were evil. And I just want to understand that a little bit better. Do you think only his comments are evil, or does the evil extend to Trump himself? Is
his behavior
he evil?
I just want to be really clear that there's a lot of evil in me and in every person. So I just don't want
Yeah, but there's definitely more in you than the average person.
And I've certainly experienced it in myself, and I've seen it in all people. We're all capable of evil. So
no, I think everybody's capable of sin. Everybody is not capable of evil. Not like that. Sorry. People can do things they regret and the like, but they'll do it for what they think are good reasons. That's different than being evil. What a fucking cop-out.
I want to pull back on the judgment and be
No, he doesn't.
very precise about what I was saying, which is you cannot mock other people's gods.
Yeah, you can. It's America. Whether you shouldn't or you should is a matter of opinion. You can mock anything. God will not be mocked as your belief system.
Put yourself in their place, period. That is a deal killer for me. That's worse than the war with Iran, in my opinion.
You're nuts.
One more question about the president. Your comments.
Well, they picked this up later.
Have clearly gotten under his skin. I mean, he's posted long screeds on Truth Social about you.
Mm-hmm.
And, to refer again to those texts that came out in the Fox News Dominion legal fight, there was one from you saying that Trump is good at destroying things. And you wrote,
Yes.
He's the undisputed world champion of that. He could easily destroy us if we play it wrong. I mean, do you worry
Yes.
about him destroying you now? He's got a lot of power.
I don't worry about him destroying me. I mean, I turned 57 next month. My kids are grown. I mean, there's not really, what can you do to
Torture and kill you, kill your family, destroy any sense of economic security that they have, lock you up while they go after your family. It's a lot of crazy shit somebody could do. It's terrible. I wouldn't rule it out. So the idea that you're like, well, there's not much he could do to me because I'm fucking rich, and he won't, is what he means.
to me. I don't work for anybody, and I'm not that worried about my own life anyway. But he does have the capacity to destroy, and I do think that it's a binary. You're either creating or destroying in this life. And I think he has proved through the course of his...
Sorry, so because you helped sell him and get him into office, what creation do you think you're doing?
His life better at destroying than at creating. I mean, he's created some, but I have a strong preference for creation over destruction.
Do you though?
And he's look, one of the reasons that I appreciated Trump from day one, in addition to always enjoying his company and finding him hilarious, is because
you find the same disgusting shit that he finds funny, because you like it when people are derogatory towards oh, that's great, awesome, about Doc Adams. One of the reasons well, never mind. Like, I will get on with
because
this
he was very good at assailing the foundations of rotten structures. And I knew...
No, he wasn't. He's a boll weevil. He wants to destroy what works.
That they were rotten because I am from Washington and I knew those...
You were part of why they were rotten?
Institutions well.
And you projected that onto everybody else?
And I knew that despite, how they described themselves...
Bob, I don't mock anyone's belief in God either. I will sometimes call out people that I think are bullshitting about their beliefs, but not the belief system itself.
They were basically just fatuous. And
a matter of fact, I think somebody who pretends to be pious in any particular religion while living opposite is truly what mocking God means. Making fun of religion in general, or making jokes about God that include God or whatever, is harmless, certainly to a non-temporal entity that exists beyond all space and time. But when it comes to some people, I think if you call yourself a Christian and behave in diametrically opposed ways, that's what mocking God really is. You make a mockery of belief.
Long outdated and probably deserve to be taken down, like a house with rotten sills. And Trump was great at exposing that and taking them down.
No, he wasn't.
USAID. As someone from D.C., I knew a lot about USAID, and I thought, why are we doing this?
Yeah, never brought it up until Trump did, and then you were just sucking up to him. And again, what happened to it? It got folded into the State Department. Almost all the funding is still there. They just want to take credit for what it does.
It's counterproductive to American interests, and Trump...
No, it isn't.
Just went in there and took it out.
No, he didn't.
And
he cannot surreptitiously get rid of it. It was funded by Congress.
And I like that. But that is the first step.
It's weird that you go towards like a relatively small expenditure by the government of about $40 billion overall for, as one of the State Department's ways of helping build bridges with impoverished countries and dealing with, AIDS in Africa and those kind of things. You're really excited about that. But his $5 trillion addition to the, raising of the debt ceiling in one fell swoop, and the $1 trillion military budget, you're just like, there's not a dime in there you would push.
Of course, that can't be the end stage. The first step is you scrape the old property, then you build something new and better and beautiful. And
no,
we haven't gotten to that part of the program.
There never was that part of the program.
And it's not even really being promised at this point, which is troubling.
Do you see a path toward supporting him again? I mean, if he...
Yeah, I mean, he was Jeffrey Epstein's wingman for 27 years. If they can make up several times Of course, Tucker can.
Suddenly took actions that you agreed with.
Yeah, if you started specifically killing the people you hate the most.
You see yourself coming back into the fold?
I'd support anybody who made life in the United States better. Of course, it's absolutely.
Oh, so you're never going to make up with Trump. I get it. Okay.
Not personal. And that's part of what I hope to convey by always adding the caveat, but I like Trump because it's not personal.
It should be, though, because these are personal traits.
So I would always support and I mean literally anybody, no matter how unlikely.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Obviously, Joe Biden passed the Infrastructure Act and 2 rescue packages. The CHIPS and Science Act, those all benefit things. Getting rid of student debt and helping people reset after, this incredible scam of building debt and shackling people to it for a long time. Especially when they're doing work like, they're nurses or doctors or whatever, which benefits society. Clearly, he was all against that. That would clearly make the child tax credit. That would clearly make the country better. It would make life for children better. It would make it easier for parents to have more kids. All the shit he pretends to actually care about. And he doesn't give a rat fuck. He's not going to support Democrats in spite of that nonsense.
The person, no matter how much I disagreed with his previous policies or reviled him as a man or whatever. It almost doesn't matter if someone's
Yes, it does. Literally, he's vilifying any Democrat just sight unseen.
Doing a good thing. I want to be honest enough to say, God bless you for doing that.
Yeah, so all of the Democrats, all of them in the House, every Democrat that signed on to the discharge petition for the Epstein files to be released, they deserve just as much gratitude and appreciation as, say, Thomas Massie or one of the Republicans that crossed over to do it. Then why didn't you? Why not? Why wouldn't you say, I appreciate all the Democrats who signed on to this? And I think it's amazing that only 4 Republicans had the guts to sign on to something that ultimately, when it reached the floor, everybody voted for because you couldn't be caught not voting for it unless you were whatever fucking Biggs or whoever voted for it or against it, the one vote.
And I support that thing. So it's really about what a person is doing.
This is just a lie. I'm calling him a liar. This is a lie. This is, he's ingratiating himself by claiming a higher moral standard than he participates in every single fucking day. This is a lie.
It's about the fruit rather than the perception. You make this country better. I don't care who you are.
This is such a lie. This is bullshit.
I will cheer you on because
nonsense.
I live here and I want the country to.
Also, I don't know where here is. He might be in Qatar in this fucking fabricated bullshit log cabin.
Get better. It's not getting better. Now, it's very hard for me to imagine any scenario in which we look back on the last 2 months, this war with Iran, and say that really made us more prosperous, safer, happier, united our country.
So I suppose you support all the Democrats who want to bring a lawsuit about the War Powers Act, and you applaud them in doing it. See what I mean? This is fucking garbage. All of this is exactly if you want to see why Tucker Carlson was a functional friend of Donald Trump's, this is it. They both do the same fucking thing. They'll tell you whatever gets them in the room with that. They've got a sales pitch that doesn't have to line up with their reality at all. They make these broad assumptions that everybody knows what they're saying is right. Everybody believes what they're saying. They just won't admit it. Or that everybody's, there are only 2 types of people in the world, those that are trying to stop you out in the open and those who are trying to stop you behind closed doors. And except for me, I'm the fucking special one.
I just can't imagine that. But then, a lot of things I haven't been able to imagine. So,
right. Like I can't imagine you being sexually assaulted by a demon, but it makes sense that it might have been a trucker you had a tryst with down the road and didn't tell your wife.
That happens. I will be the very first person to say, well, I was completely wrong about that and I'm sorry.
Nonsense. Nope. There's 100 areas where he could say that right fucking now.
Sorry. And I'm grateful that I was wrong.
Mhm.
And I will really mean it.
No, you won't. No, you don't. This is a lie. This is like Trump saying, I rebuilt our military, or we had the greatest economy in 2020 that we'd ever had. The fuck out of here.
Because I'm not, again, I don't have any partisan agenda at all.
Yes, you do.
The Republican Party could not be more repulsive to me. The Democratic Party, same thing. So I just...
All right, then based on what fucking standard? What they've accomplished, what they can accomplish, what they're trying to accomplish?
I'm in this weird non-aligned place, and it's totally sincere. Like, I think the parties, and I'm saying this on the basis of a lot of knowledge...
No, a lot of assumptions.
...are rotten beyond repair, or at least simple repairs.
All right, gibberish. This is this is more dweeb Alex Jones shit from this guy. And so let me where he will beat around the bush with this stuff. Let me state again, chat room, if I may, before I leave you for the evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Tucker Carlson is a liar and a coward, and is an opportunistic infection on our political landscape in America. He is absolutely hollow in his ethics that he alleges he has to the world, and he is every bit as bought and paid for as the people he vilifies as being, tied to some sort of donor class. He thinks that the support, both overt and covert, that he gets from Russia or Qatar or any other source is somehow different than AIPAC paying a fucking congressperson to say what they actually believe. Fuck Tucker. Tucker sucks, to quote the great George Carlin. And he was always selling this like young William F. Buckley horseshit all during the 90s and the early 2000s. And he only left it when it left him. And he is personally responsible for everything that Trump does because he took an active role in getting the guy elected. Hold on. Enough check. Hold on. I gotta see. My no, okay. Dink. Wee. He participated in getting Trump elected, even though he found him morally repulsive, which means his morals take a backseat to his financial well-being and the feathering of his own nest. So fuck him and all of his moralizing bullshit. It's always been a lie. It will always be a lie. And if he's found some way, because he's looking at the advertisers and the money that Candace Owens is making now, and he's just decided to carve himself off a slice of it, which is really what's going on here. That does not mean he's even capable of making the moral decisions that he alleges other people are incapable of making. It's grotesque. He's a weakling. Other than that, I have no opinion. Thank you, Janelle. Appreciate that. But I, in all seriousness, this is pitiful. Just stop it. There might be a time when he goes, I owe an apology to everybody in the Democratic Party who was warning me about this. But I don't expect that to happen, and neither do you. And it won't come because he's a coward and a liar and a second-generation rich kid born with a silver spoon up his ass who doesn't give a rat fuck about anybody. There is zero difference between Tucker Carlson and Rusty Trombone and Alex Jones and Donald Trump. They're all flim-flammers. Other than that, I have no opinion. All right, I will see you guys later. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Thank you guys for the super chats and the support. Patreon.com/HouseParks. All of the thing that I always say I should say and I don't. I know I should sell the show, but I'm too busy doing the show. Son of a. Anyways, you guys are awesome. Hit the like, subscribe. It's free. All right. Much love.
enter light. Scroll in hand, 7 seals. Every word cuts and heals. Red horse screams, hooves like drums, sword raised high, kingdoms come, peace unstitched by a single roar. I hear thunder at my door, wars and rumors of wars, spoken like a curse in the dark. Every headline, every scar is another cracked heart in the ark. Wars and rumors of wars, hey, echo from the prophets and seers. When the Lamb breaks the seal, all the old world shakes with our fears. Black horse ways, bread and bone, steel stilled hard, iron stone. Measure grain by a dying sun, silver short for